All right. Good morning, you guys. We're pumped to be back on. Man, we took a long time off the last couple of weeks. We have an excellent guest today that we're pumped to chat with. So we appreciate you guys being on Money Talk Show with Dane, where we talk about topics relating to money. So if those are interesting to you, you're in the right place. Here we talk about real estate and crypto primarily, and we're doing our best to help our real estate buddies and other entrepreneurs alike understand what we feel like is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, that being crypto. So we're pumped to have everybody on. Welcome back this morning. Corey, go ahead and take it away and intro our guest as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Crypto Millionaires with Corey Geary here. And like you just said earlier, we're doing our best to educate, entrepreneurs and real estate people alike how to use cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool and then maybe use real estate down the road as a wealth preservation tool. And I feel like there's no better opportunity, probably like in our lifetime right now, where we're at in this market cycle with cryptocurrency and Pulse Chain on the horizon and everything else that's going on. It's just, it gives me chill bumps to even think about the opportunity we have right now. But man, today we have one of the most exciting shows. I remember when I first got into the Hex community, I was really following all the narratives of believing everything everyone was telling me. I should stake all my Hex 5555. And I was doing that. And then I came across a gentleman on Twitter who was basically not the most non-maxi person I've ever met. He was involved in every single crypto possible, making just a crap ton of money too. And he had talked about how the narrative of a 5555 versus playing the market cycle, how you can attain way more T shares, playing the market cycles versus just staking everything. And it really caught my attention. I started following him and listening to him, and I love everything he's about. I love how he's kind of created this whole ecosystem in his own way where he creates, money out of crypto. He's got his own style, his own strategy. We'll have him touch on how he does that. He calls it the law of meme coins, which is really cool. But man, B Roots, bro, thank you so much for coming on our show today.
An intro, man. I feel special right now. What's going on, man? I love the PulseX shirt. Getting ready. It's supposed to be out. It's supposed to be out. A couple days ago, but I was wrong on that.
Hey man, we were sitting on pins and needles, hoping that your call was right, and we were.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't a marketing ploy. I did think it would come out next week, and then the APR thing happened. I'm like, oh, if that didn't happen, like it would have been right on point.
You think it would have been? You think it'd have been out if it went for the?
Yeah. I think it was the timing was perfect. The V3 came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I hit this on the nail, it's gonna be amazing. And then I saw that tweet. I'm just like, come on, man! You're killing me.
So give the viewers, give them some background on your tweet and what your thought process was.
My thought process, 45 days. I did it with Black Hexagon is when I announced it, and I said that 45 days or less, I think it will be out. I did make a tweet about it. I don't remember making that tweet, but she was like, "Oh, you said it. I saw it." So she brought it back up in the interview. I was like, "Well, I think it, so I must have said it." And she asked me to explain it, and I did not explain it. But now I can go in depth because nobody else was talking about it at the time, and it was the Shanghai fork. That was the one thing that I knew was coming out. The April 12th area. So in 2 days, hopefully we get delayed. So with that, and I was thinking that we would want to fork before that, knowing that Ethereum has a ton of bugs, Ethereum has a ton of issues. We want to be able to update anything that Ethereum has afterwards. So you do it, they do their fork, and then afterwards, they do an update, we can just update with that. They do an update, we do an update with that. They do it. So as long as Ethereum's always update, that's that perfect, flawless operation by almost default by letting them handle it or the issues coming up then, and then you update to it. So that's part of the game theory that I had with it. I'm not the biggest technical guy, so I can't really give you the technical side on why that would make sense. I'm just a game theory in the way I think. So that's my mindset behind it, where I do think if there is some type of bug or some type of issue with the Shanghai fork or the Shanghai switchover, whatever you want to call it, then we carry along with that. And then there could be more delays. And that's what I don't want. So
Right.
that's how I look at it. And that's why I said after 45 days, I'm not going to be like the most like, right, hooray, because there's going to be like a that type of period where
I mean, he might delay a little longer to see how the Shanghai fork plays out and to see if there's any bugs in the in the process.
Correct.
So he might be like, you know what, let's hold 30 days, guys. Let's let this play out, see if there's any bugs that we see any bugs that the Ethereum Foundation sees. And so who knows?
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like I still would like to see it V4 this week. Maybe Ethereum delays into next week, and then boom, by Friday, we're ready to go. We're ready to go, and everything's perfect, and we can do exactly how I said. Ethereum does the Shanghai. We're like, okay, everything's good. Boom, we update to that. Everything's good, and we're just following alongside Ethereum as they get.
Or it's mid-May because he doesn't want to be wrong.
I know. I just.
He doesn't
we waited too long though, man. We waited too long. I have a nice little bet out there with Buck too. That'll be.
Oh yeah. I was in the Fiat chat last night. He was talking about it. Yeah,
it's a small bet. He's not going to break anyone's bank.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's. I'm still going with give me my week delay of my original number.
What's the terms of the bet? You have to talk about the money.
It's $1,000 by the 25th.
Okay.
You know, I've already paid 10 G's to a coin that I thought was going to go to $1 and it didn't. So that was a little Maxi Hexagon made that bet, and you know, he made it public. Oh, he's not going to pay me, blah blah blah. And
I saw that.
Within 48 hours, you know, $10,000 worth of hex was put into that wallet. So anonymously, and couldn't find out where it came from. That's all I was doing is moving money around. So no one can be like, oh, that's where it's all coming from. But you know, I pay my debts, I pay my dues, and I also put the money where my mouth is. So
I love it, man. Why don't we start off? Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about your story, your background, how you got into crypto, what were you doing before that? And I know you're kind of retired in crypto now. This is all you do is full-time crypto. You know, maybe some stories of you getting wrecked, and then obviously some big, massive wins that have really catapult your career in crypto. Be great to hear that.
I started in late 2013. My first official purchase was in, you know, early 14. But basically where I started going down the rabbit hole is when my friend who ran a successful porn company took all his money out of that and put it into Bitcoin back in 2012. So coming out,
porn company, is that you said?
Yeah, you remember the football magnets on top of your on your wall as a kid that you could put the like life size.
The heads, fat heads. Yeah,
he did that for porn, and it took off, man. I was like, bro, like how'd you come up with this idea? And it's coming out of college. You know, you would never think this guy. I mean, he's like a punk rocker, tattoos all over his body, and you would never think this guy is like. I guess you could think he's in the porn industry. You don't know, but he made, you know, millions from that, and we were all coming out of college, and that we got out in 2008, so the worst time. And you know, he does a little transition out of college and just comes up with this idea. Knew a couple of people that are in the industry. They took it off, and all you see him with like all these like known porn stars. He's like taking pictures. He's in the room with it and getting that stuff ready so they can sell it on their websites, and he gets commission off of that. Like it was very highly successful. He lives in Vegas now. I don't know if he still lives in Vegas, but he did that, took money into crypto. And one time I went back to my college and for homecoming, and I was like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He told me the story. He was like, "You need to get into crypto, Bitcoin." And I had no idea about it, and I said, "What not? Why not?" Like I didn't have no money at the time. I was basically working at the mall, so I wasn't like this 10 like 6-figure job. Like I didn't have that money. I was coming out of college during the recession, so it just wasn't easy. And I said, I forked some money over, and I said, why not? And fast forward 4 years later, I actually forgot about it. I follow a little bit, but not nowhere near as hardcore as I do now. 4 years later, 2017 rolls around. I opened up my Coinbase wallet and was like, whoa. That was at like $300, $400 at the time. And I see Bitcoin going up to 20,000 during that run. So that was more money than I saw in one day that I've seen in a year, working. So I was just like, wow. And I started making XRP videos because XRP was under a penny at that time. I actually had the #1 XRP video on YouTube because the timing of me doing that YouTube video was right before it started like just skyrocketing up. It was like mid-December I made that video.
Oh, wow.
I had over 125,000 views all within a week. Everybody was YouTubing and Googling what the heck was XRP. And I just happened to have a video 2 days before the run. So the timing of that and the algorithm just loved it. So I was just like the man when it came to XRP and just like everyone, how do you buy your XRP? I had the affiliate code set up with Binance. I'm still making money on Binance that I can't even get off. Like I've got money in Binance, but I can't even go into Binance and take it off because I'm obviously U.S. citizen. Yep. But I lie to you, not 100. I'm almost well over $100,000 in a month just on my Binance, affiliate code that was linked with my Coinbase. So I had people sign up for Coinbase.
Yeah.
And that was an affiliate code. So I got $20 for every person I got to sign up for Coinbase. But then I had my Binance affiliate code connected with that same video. I was teaching people how to get into XRP, and everyone was just using that. And man, like to this day, I can't get the money off of Binance, but you can go on and just see it racking up still. All the people that got in that 2017 during that XRP, if they're trading on Binance, like commissions is coming my way.
You should get somebody who lives outside of the United States somehow to
maybe something, man. I gotta figure something out. So it's just crazy how that started, and that was my first, introduction to YouTube. So then I was flirting with what coins to get into, this and that, and I was living the high life. I was, hundreds of thousands of dollars from making, a $30,000 job at that time,
right?
And so at that time, once that ended in 2018, it came to a nice crash and put me back to reality. I had all that money and it all went down. And that year, I actually had a loss out of all that money. Like I actually had a loss in capital gains that year, and that was just like, oh. So I won't say riches, but for when I say rags of riches, I wasn't like rich and buying Lamborghinis, but that could have bought me a house. And at the age of, at that age was like, man, it was nothing. Could have bought houses, cars, whatever I wanted to. But I lost it all. And I was back to $10,000. I put $10,000 into this coin called Remy. You could probably look it up now. It's just dead.
It's nothing.
Nothing. Pre-sale. I thought I was the man. I thought I knew everything that was going on. American citizens couldn't get in, but you're special, so we're going to give you the pre-sale. I was like, cool. Put $10,000 in. I put the rest of my $10,000 in. I was like, we're going to make it. We're going to make that money back. It was during the bear market, so I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to trade. I was in the same set as everybody. It was the pre-sale, John, the pre-sale era of crypto. I get in during the bear market. Everything's going down. I think I'm going to pull a 10x right at the back. I'm going to pull it, take it all out. It never even launched at the price that I put it in at. I instantly lost 50% off the start of the day. So right off the bat, my 10,000 goes to 5,000. Then I'm seeing it goes down to 4,000. Then it goes to 3,000. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! I'm about to literally lose everything. So I pulled that $3,000 out. It kept going down. That $10,000, I would be willing to bet that it's probably, if I kept it in there, it would be under $100 right now. So it never went back. Never went back. So now I've got $3,000 to my name. And I said,
you're already wrecked.
Yeah, I'm wrecked. I'm
wrecked.
It's just wrecked city. So I'm just looking at it. I'm just like, I've seen that money and I know I can get it back. I know I can get it back. It was just a introduction of having money, but you had to learn the hard way. And I did learn the hard way. So during that time, I was in crypto. I knew what was going on. I said, I'm going to get good at this game. There's nothing you can tell me. I'm going to smash it. So at that time, I was professional wrestling. So a lot of guys see this. They don't realize I used to be a professional wrestler.
Oh, really?
So a lot of people don't know that.
Touch on that for a bit. Because that's how your whole persona is on YouTube or Twitter. With your whole
it's all camera work. It's all to get you to be drawn in and keep watching. It's basically what the WWE does for wrestling.
And you wrestled for the WWE before?
I haven't had any matches in wrestling with them. I traveled around with them for 3 years. You'll see me in like backstage cameos, different things. I've done stuff with Mark Henry, Big Show. Right now the Usos are hot. I did stuff, Usos, and my trainer at the time was William Regal. I don't know if you remember him from about the 90s, but I spent a lot of time with him, and I've done stints with Kane, Triple H, Vince McMahon, that just all the whole 9 yards. I've spent time with all those guys, and it was probably the most, when it comes to acting and just knowing how to bring people's eyes to you and the whole psychology of that, how to tick people off, but even when you tick people off, they still want to watch you. That's the heel part of things. So that's why you'll see me always like getting in heated debates, because I know that people like to see that, and that draws more views to you. And even those people that block you and hate you, they still know about you, which means I am winning. So the last person I feuded with, happens to know everything that I do up to this day, but I'm blocked. That means you are watching me through a different account, which means I'm winning. Which means I'm winning. So I have no idea what you're doing, but your close eyes are on me, and
you're watching every move I'm doing.
Yeah, there are others. Well, I need to keep them close by and know your enemy and blah blah blah. I'm like, nah, you just can't get enough of it. so that's the persona I do. It does work, because when I put it on high level, I went from about 3,000 to 4,000 followers to 40,000 followers, and I kept it. So that is my persona.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
Thing. I don't go around wearing Versace and Gucci stuff. Actually, I will if I'm going out to a club or something very nice. But like I will have sweatpants on, regular t-shirt, and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I met you in person, at the the HETS conference or the Pulse Con, whatever it was.
Yeah.
When we met there, I remember thinking, man, he's nothing like I would have thought he was from watching him on Twitter. Like a completely different personality, at least that I interpreted.
It's what it is. It's like your alter ego, and everyone has that in them. There is someone like I do like the flashy stuff. I do like it, but what this is me turned up about 10 notches. So that's where you see it. You turn yourself up, that you have about 10 notches to the most obnoxious side that you could possibly have, and that, believe it or not, draws people in.
I mean, Richard Hart did it.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, that's what actually attracted me, to watching Richard Hart is him just roasting people. I liked it. It was entertaining to me. And I remember, DMing Richard on Telegram one time, and I said, you should do more of that. I was like, it works and it brings more people. And he said, I remember his response. Noted. That's all he said was noted. But he continued, and I was just like, hey, man, just from an outsider looking in, I was like, hey, man, you should probably continue that.
I love it.
He took it to another level. And then for a while, he was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to do that. And he couldn't do it. And then, he went back to, outreach marketing. It works.
It works.
You just got to have the personality for it.
So you got wrecked. You're at 3K now. You're 3K. Like, I got to figure this crypto thing out because you see something in it and you've experienced a little bit of glory out of it. Okay.
And what I did for a year from 2018 to 2019, it was about a year straight. I sat there, I went to work, came back from work, kissed the wife goodnight, and stayed up all hours of the night learning the crypto game. Looking at charts, looking at exchanges, just sitting there watching the wash trading going on, just breaking it down to the biggest, smallest part to where I was like, oh, I see what's going on. Now I see what's happening. All right, there's a shilling game part to this. Now I see, like I was part of the shilling game, but I never even took any profits. Like I never took profits. Now I see people still winning. How are you winning? Oh, you took profits. I see what's going on. And then there's a marketing side to it. You can make money marketing. So I was like, oh, okay. Now I see like what's going on. So that whole time I was starting to take more profits. And that was during DeFi summer. DeFi summer comes around and I'm like, all right, boom, kings are just going crazy. I'm just slowly pulling out, letting stuff ride. And I was like, okay. And Shiba Inu came out during DeFi summer. It's in 2020. I put in, it was like probably at the time, I want to say it was about anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. And okay. I put it in from the beginning, like right from the beginning. And that thing just went, it died. It went up and it died. A lot of people don't see this chart. You won't see this chart if you go on CoinGecko. You won't see this chart in CoinMarketCap. You got to look at the V2 from the beginning on Uniswap only. Died and just plateaued for 6 months. I actually bought that dip in 6 months during the plateau because I believed in the narrative with the Doge killer. So it was SHIB.
Was that the narrative?
That was the original. Doge. That was the original website in the beginning. That no one's
really.
The website you see right now is nothing like what it was back then. It was a janky website, and it was the Shiba Inu, the Dogecoin killer. And I was like, this has a ring to it. There hasn't been a coin that competed with Dogecoin. You see all these competitions, the competition with Ethereum, competitions with Bitcoin, competition with this, but you never saw a competition with Dogecoin. And I was like, this is fresh and this is new. And I got into it, lost all. I lost all that whole $1,500. That $1,500 was like $50. that thing went down. But I bought some more of it. That got me into the trillions of SHIB with that. And I was like, you know what?
You bought the bottom.
I bought the beginning. I did not sell anywhere near close to the top because I was really believing in that narrative. I drank the Kool-Aid of the narrative. I didn't follow my process with SHIB.
Right.
And it went down, and I bought the bottom of that. There's a purchase on there that I bought, and then even behind that, when it took that big spike up, I was like, "Here we go," and I knew I caught the right one because it went from, I want to say, like a $2 million market cap all the way to a $50 million market cap, all in a matter of an hour or two.
Really?
I literally, I was walking my kids to the park with my wife, and my portfolio with my altcoins went from like nothing to like bam, it was like 70, 80 grand, like just like that within an hour. I thought it was a glitch. And I was like, what the heck is going on?
Did you
And then
run
I was
home?
like, here's the thing. I got like, I was like, I don't know if this is real or not, but I got, because I don't do any trading on my cell phone. I'll put my stuff on, but I don't put no crypto on my cell phone.
Good.
So I had to run all the way home, and that thing cut in like 50-60% as soon as I got home. By the time I got home, I was like, do I take, hold on, sometimes Siri. So I was like, do I take my money and run, or do I just hold it at this point? And I'm thinking, I was like, there's still so much more money, but I was like, Elon is going to tweet about this thing again. I was like, there's no way Elon stops. So I just held it. I just went against my philosophy at the time. I just held it. And, SHIB had 18 to 21 days. If you look at the chart, every 18 to 21 days, it would pump and then it would just die off and let all the sellers go, right? And then it would pump 18 to 21 days and then it would just die off. And then it would pump 18. And if I didn't learn my trading, knowing what higher highs, higher lows, lower highs was, I would have never kept holding. So I was just holding. And then it got to the point where the money was in the millions. And I lie to you not when I tell you this. If you've never experienced this before, you will experience it. Whether you sacrifice for Pulse Chain, whether you sacrifice for Pulse X, and I guarantee you can probably talk to someone who was in the beginning of Hex and was able to hold liquid millions. There's a difference between being staked and having millions. I'm talking hold liquid and having millions. When you wake up in the morning, if you can sleep for one, because I was taking I lie to not Benadryl to go to sleep. That's the only way I could go to sleep, because my eyes was glued, because I never had millions that was fluctuating the way it fluctuates. If you say you got $10 million and you see that 18 to 21 days drop of 50-60%, imagine yourself having $10 million and now it's worth $4 million, and how much lower it can go.
Right. Oh my God.
So your mindset, you think you're ready for it. I promise you're not ready for it. I'm telling you, you're not ready for it. So you can try to build yourself up. I studied for a year. That's one thing I didn't study, for how to handle that. So when it dropped at one point in time, once it got into the millions, I was at work on the computer at work, like buying cars for my company at the time. And I'm looking at my portfolio and I can't even take a lunch break to take out $1 million or see something. That's when it affects you. And you're at work and you're seeing your portfolio go up and you're like excited, and you go down. Then you're like, whoa. And I could tell you one thing that it does is when you go to sleep and you wake up, the cycles and how trading works on certain time frames, and apparently this is how it's working during my time frame, it would go up for like 3 or 4 days when I woke up, and I felt excitement. This is going to happen forever, and I could go the whole day doing great. But then there would be a cycle in a few weeks after that where we wake up and it goes down. So your mindset, you wake up and you're like, the first thing you're like, oh man. Like the problem is I didn't have a game plan on taking profits at that level of money. I could say laws of meme coins, take out this, but I was like, what do I do once I'm at that level? I wasn't prepared for that. So all this laws of meme coins, all this stuff that I do, that incorporates all that. So your mindset is just focused and good to go when that time, and if that time comes for you, because I'm telling you, you won't be prepared for it. It's not gonna, like, you're not gonna be prepared for it. So having a mindset, having a game plan, having all that stuff, I always talk about have a game plan going in, but now you have a game plan going out.
Yep.
Any coin that comes happening now, I'm calm and collective, and it's just like I've been through it all. So people have been through different cycles. It's kind of the same concept. But if you've never been having millions of dollars in your wallet and seeing it fluctuate to the upside and downside and not being calm and collective to know what you're going to do and what your game plan is, you're probably going to oversell, or you're probably not going to sell. You're either drinking the Kool-Aid or you don't have a game plan. Both scenarios will get you wrecked.
I love it. I love it. And so did you end up taking profits off your Shiba Inu at some point? Did you take some off the
I
table?
sold every last bit of it. I said I am out because one time it was going down. I was like, nah, man, I'm over this. I can't. Like, I was like, I'm out. I'm out. It was so much money. I was like, you know what? It's life-changing money. I could do so much with this. And now I have money to live to the next scenario. This. I was like, I'm out. Mistake, though. That was a mistake because I cashed out to the second highest high. That did another 10x after that high. And that would have been like it was already like crazy life-changing money. But that another 10x, that's the thing. What people don't realize is when coins multiply, you got to realize I got in at 0.0000. I was telling people to get in. I didn't get in, but I was telling people to get in at 0.00000005. The top was 0.00008.
Jeez.
Wow.
What this tells you is that for every 0.000000005, I am doubling $1,900.
Wow.
So even now, if it goes up 10x over that all-time high, and I still held a portion of that, 0.000000005. For every one of those, I am doubling $1,900. So if it gets to a penny and then it gets to 2 cents, how many 0.000000005s are in that? For that person that got in on 1 cent, that's one double for them. For every single that, and then when it goes to 2 cents to 4 cents, that's how it was able to accumulate so fast. So I always teach, hold a moon bag when you have a winner, always, because then you can do what actually you hear Richard Hart says, selling a double, 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 selling a double. You can always continue selling on a double. But for every one of those doubles for that person, for me, it was a massive amount of doubles. And that was me just gaining $1,900 for every one of those 8 zeros and a 5. So I now know, and I've taught that into my laws of meme coins on how to take profits, is that, hey, this is what you got to do to win at the game. But what you're doing is I'll take out most of my crypto, but I still have some to still keep making those doubles. And that can go forever. Because even if I have 10 coins, let's just say I've got 10 coins. I sell a double, that's 5 coins. I still got a double, that's 2.5 coins. I sell a double, that's 1.25. I sell a W, that's 0.75. I sell a W, that's 0.36, whatever. And I can just keep breaking it down lower and lower and lower. But you got to remember, those numbers are infinite to the left. And the price over here can go infinite up. So as long as you just keep selling a double, you're still making whatever you put in a half, forever until the freaking wheels fall off. It dies, it's no longer, and then you just move on to the next one. So that's how, that's kind of my story since SHIB. Timing of SHIB. I'm not a Hexagon from day one, even though I knew about Richard Hart from the beginning. I didn't get in Hex in the beginning. It's funny, like a lot of people will talk trash and say things this. I'm like, listen, I'll probably have more Hex than you, probably have more Pulse Chain and more Pulse X than you, and I didn't even get in at the beginning because I made my money on SHIB. Right. So that's no different than me being a Hexagon on day one.
Right.
Right.
Because they came out in the same time. The only difference is the ticker.
Yeah.
the gains I made in SHIB is with the gains those people that bought the low of Hex did. And actually, I made more gains than them because I pulled a 12,000x on my numbers, and SHIB did a 1 million x in 1 year, and Hex only did a 10,000x in 1 year. So if you really want to talk numbers, the SHIB community that got into Hex, and there's a lot of them that sacrifice for Pulse Chain, they're just as good, if not more. I would say they're more diamond handing people than Hexicans, because you ready for this? They weren't staked.
Interesting.
So they went through a whole different psychology than a Hexican that's staked and made paper money.
Right.
So that's the difference. We actually took their hands, rode a million X, going down multiple 85Xs, and did not sell. If anyone is more diamond-handed, it's someone that got in the SHIB from the beginning and has proof that you didn't sell it during all those up tops.
That's crazy.
That in my mind, those people that sacrifice, for Pulse Chain, and there was, I want to say anywhere from like $4 to $5 million that was sacrificed for Pulse Chain from SHIB money. They're diamond handing people, and I tell you this, it's not easy. When I look at my stakes up to 15 years, it's easy to hold.
Yeah,
it's very easy to hold because you have no choice but to hold. Whereas somebody in SHIB or someone that had no ability to stake, yeah, it's not easy. So people can say they got lucky. Oh, you got lucky. You sure you got lucky? It's not like I bought it, got in a coma 2 years later, got up, and then just decided to sell it. No, like there's so much stuff that went through that to get that amount of money, and to go through that, to be able to do that, it takes it wasn't easy. I can tell you that. It was a lot of community camaraderie and just like this is what we gotta do. It didn't create a lower low yet. Like it's good. It's curving back up. It didn't create the lower low. That means the floor has been set. We're going on for the next ride. And comes to it that, good old Sam Bankman-Fried was the one that pumped that bad boy up from the beginning. But that doesn't hide the fact that what we went through, and that happens in crypto every single cycle. There's a coin that does that. It just happened to be SHIB, and they just happen to be pumping it up. But that doesn't matter. There's still 1 million plus wallets in SHIB. So there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of people coming in, whether it was pumped up by Sam Bankman-Fried or whether it's pumped up by Richard Hart.
Right.
In the end, it was pumped up and it went to crazy numbers. So do you have the ability to hold? That is the question. And many people will be put to test when it comes to Pulse Chain and Pulse.
It will, because they can't. It's not the same game theory, right? You can't stake Pulse Chain for 5.555. You're going to have to hold if you want to experience the gains. I mean, I'm hoping a lot of people dump on a 10x. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, so I can have my bags open while they're dumping. So, guys, smash the likes and hit the bell notification if you're enjoying the show. B Roots is an OG in the game. We are loving this convo. This is good stuff, man. Why don't you talk about a little about Pulse Chain, Pulse X? Did you sacrifice for both? I know you're.
And here's a good question to touch on too as we head into Pulse Chain and Pulse X. So let's talk about that.
Moon can't consider the income with a cake 5% coin. Would you see Pulse X coin being able to bring in, especially with its deflation? Okay.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Pulse X and staking and income that you can make with them, you're going to bring over a lot of those people, especially with the FUD, with Binance and all of that stuff. You're going to see a shift. I do believe you're going to see a shift. I do think Pulse X can be a game changer as far as DEXs. I do think the PulseX community is going to be shaky in the beginning. I do think you're gonna witness a lot of volatility. There's going to come FUD with that also. So you prepare for that. But after every drop, whether it's because of everyone going over to try to get into Pulse Chain, you're going to have a leveling area. When you see that drop levels out, that's pretty much your floor. That would be a good time to maybe DCA in if that's what you want to do. You want to get more PulseX, or you want to go that route. But every drop comes to an end and every top comes to an end. So it's going to level itself out. And I do think that APY will come over from other chains into PulseX and Pulse Chain. Like I 100% think it will happen. It's just going to take a little longer than what people are expecting.
Sure. What do you think the APYs could be like on the single-sided staking?
Man, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what's going to come of that, just because that stuff hasn't been like released. We don't know how many people are going to, in my opinion, dump PulseX for Pulse Chain. So that's kind of just it's throwing darts. It's really throwing darts, but yeah, it's a very unknown thing. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be seen. I think there's going to be a section of people that sell their Pulse Chain for Hex.
I believe so too.
So
you got the maxis.
Yeah, you got those maxis, and the maxis got a lot of money. So do you wait to actually swap your Hex for Pulse Chain? Do they do it right away? I've got right here 1 computer screen, 2, 3, 4. I am going to be watching multiple different pairs to see what I can do. So it's going to be. I made a tweet the other day. Here, let me bring it up. Where I said, and it's very real. I'll sell my PLS for your PLX at 1 to 10. So my 1 PLS for your 10 PLX. And when you realize you messed up, I'll sell it back to you for 2 PLXX.
I saw that.
PLS. Good deal, right? So a lot of people aren't going to realize what's going on, and their mind's not set in that thinking. The only reason I have that mindset is because I got into crypto before there was USDC and USDT.
Right, the ratio
trading.
So a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, they don't get that. So that tweet is actually a learning tweet, even though it sounds like I'm being an asshole. But it's actually something you should really break down and understand the math behind it. Because I never told you I will sell it all back to you. I could sell half of it back to you, and I still come out a winner. Big winner.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people don't realize that, and because they're all thinking in their time right there. Here's the thing: when you ratio trade, you better remember the ratio that you bought it for. So when you trade, that ratio is in your favor, because you might be like, I got 3 to 1, I'm cool. And then when you try to trade it back with the US dollar over there, you realize that you just freaking broke even on your trade. You got to see the ratio on the other side of it to see it, because once you hit that swap button, you got about 1 second, 2 seconds to try to hit cancel. And by the time you finally go in your MetaMask to hit cancel, it already completed. It's too late. Can't get it back. It's not like Ethereum. You're not going to have 2-3 minutes to cancel that transaction when you mess up. It's going to be quick. So I do think that PulseX people will be doing well, but I do think the hype and the narrative around Pulse Chain is there. It's not going away. I do think that is the baby to have. And until this is the big argument, it's got better tokenomics than Pulse Chain. It's got better deflationary aspects than Pulse Chain. For me, until you show me a coin where the layer 1 does not outperform the DEX, then I'll be convinced. Mm-hmm. There is a first time for everything. Absolutely.
Correct.
But I go off of history, and if the mindset of people is that you want the layer one more than the DEX, then that is the market. Don't try to make the market. The market is going to do what the market's going to do. And through history, the market says that they value the layer one over the DEX.
Yep. Because all the rest is just narratives.
Yep.
Talking about
Absolutely.
tokenomics, talking about,
you're trying to convince yourself. You're trying to convince yourself why you should not, or why you made a better decision, or why your sacrifice is just as good.
Correct. It's rationalizing in your own head.
Correct. That's what you're doing when you're saying that. And when I go back off of history and I say, well, this didn't do it, this didn't. And you can say, well, it doesn't have the great tokenomics. Well, I can say this: the market cap's lower. That's the best tokenomics you can get. Is it? The market cap's lower. Ethereum is let's look on Ethereum. Ethereum is a $226 billion market cap as we speak, and Uniswap is a $5 billion market cap. So that tokenomic right there, it's the DEX for Ethereum. Man, right there, that's a pretty badass. Right, and there's only one. One's a $5 billion market cap. One's a $226 billion market cap. So one should increase and be on the same level. Well, if I hold only Uniswap and I'm trying to convince myself that that's the reason why it's bullish, then yeah. But until I see Uniswap overpower Ethereum, I'm not going to see it, because guess what? Ethereum wasn't deflationary when Uniswap came out.
Yep.
So I mean, so that's the kind of things is I always say I did the tweet this morning. I said I'm very unbiased in my thinking.
Yeah.
Even though I have a bag, I have Hex, I will tell you the crap stuff about Hex, the crap stuff about Pulse Chain. There's things there I'm just like, but I still have it. And the reason why is because I don't want to get in a mentality that I hold the best asset and nothing can overtake it. In my opinion, Pulse Chain is going to overtake Hex in gains this market cycle. I still have Hex, and you can be a maxi in Hex all you want, but gains wise, I believe Pulse Chain will create more gains than Hex. So if you had to hold one, would you hold Pulse Chain this cycle, or would you hold Hex this cycle? And you can only buy one this cycle. Which would you buy?
I would pick Pulse Chain.
I would too. Yeah.
And that's history. And why is that history? That's history because anything that's fresh and new does more gains. I'm sorry, Hex is not doing another 10,000 X this cycle. It's not happening.
Sure.
It's not happening.
If
it does, like, man, like,
yeah,
I know it, but I don't think it's happening.
Fundington brings up a good point. This is going to be really interesting to watch the relationship. We've never seen an L1 and a DEX launch together, and the DEX have good tokenomics. So that'll be really interesting to watch here.
Yeah, because Uniswap token is just
DEX.
Yeah,
because that's. I am going to, at the same time, yes, very close to each other, I would say no to that. And the reason why is there are a lot of coins that are coming out, like a lot of layer ones now coming out with their coin and the DEX, very close to each other nowadays. For example, I want to say Polygon wasn't one, Polkadot's not one, Litecoin, Avalanche. I would say Avalanche and Solana are close. I wouldn't say they came out at the exact same time, but they're close. But at the same time, it will be different. It will be unique. I still think it goes to the L1 just based off of history. Sure. And just so you guys know, I sacrifice for both, so don't think I'm biased in one way at all. Like it's just my thoughts on just how the market reacts. Yeah. It's usually going to be Pulse, like the layer one, and the layer one's going to go crazy. And then I could see, this is what I could see happen. The layer 1 goes absolutely nuts in the beginning. PulseX crashes to whether it's 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 10, 1 to 20, who knows? We don't know. But there will be some crazy swings. Pulse Chain does a crazy 85% dump. They all do. It will happen to Pulse Chain. It's going to happen. People want to take their profits. They're either going to take their initials out. It's going to dump 85%. I do think that PulseX at that dump will dump a little bit also, just because Pulse Chain will bring it down because they're all interconnected. So they're all, it's going to dump. So PulseX dumps a little more. And then I believe that Pulse Chain will get most of the hype. So whenever Richard Hart's going to do different things, it's all going to be about Pulse Chain. It's not going to be PulseX. I don't think people are going to come in when he goes on BitBoy. I don't think BitBoy is going to be talking about PulseX. I don't think Wendio is going to be talking about PulseX. I don't think that. So a lot of that's going to be all about Pulse Chain.
True.
That's the market that's being advertised. BitBoy has over 1 million followers. He'll be talking about Pulse Chain. And then what happens is, as that's going up, this is going to be the FUD of PulseX, I believe. It's not going up as fast. They're making all the money. What the hell? There's going to be some dumping during that because they're all going to be chasing after the green candles of Pulse Chain. I think what makes PulseX goes up is when the market realizes that there is a kind of a lagger in this whole ecosystem. And then the money starts pouring flow into that. And then you're going to start seeing this. So together, they go up and down, going up and down, creating higher highs, and then they start going. That's how PulseX, I believe, actually goes and wins and makes money. It's from the money that's made by Pulse Chain, and it slowly drags that up. So initially, just being paired together, it won't be a lot of X's, because a lot of people say, well, because it's attached to Pulse Chain, it's going to go up just as hot. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. The Hart's law doesn't work that way. It's not going to go up 100x because PulseX went up 1,000x. Like, it's just not. It's not going to.
Yeah.
Well,
that's more narratives.
It actually can, but it's it all depends on the pools.
That's the same thing with PHEX and EHEX being tied together and all that. It's
correct.
Yeah, the Hart's law.
It will do it to a certain extent, but I think what happens is, wait a second, my Pulse Chain is getting my Pulse Chain bag is getting a little frothy right now, and I can pull this little 6-to-1, 5-to-1 on PulseX. Let me throw some over there. What does that do? Now, once you see PulseX start moving up, everybody chases green candles. And then you're going to see more people throwing in the PulseX. And then you're going to get this little and that's when people will start getting a little comfortable. Okay, now we see what's going on. And then PulseX starts coming back live. And then the PulseX narrative starts getting advertised. And that's when it starts going. So I think it's PulseX in the beginning. Takes a dump just because of the narrative's all going to be about Pulse Chain. Comes narrative number 1 is what matters the most in crypto. Starts with narrative. Then marketing is number 2. Then the community, then utility. It would never be the opposite. Hex, narrative, and marketing is Richard Hart. He created, with that narrative and marketing, came the community, and the community preaches the utility.
Tokenomics. Wow.
No one gave a damn about the utility in the beginning. It was, how do you get this out to people? How do you get people on board? How do you get them to believe? Narrative, marketing. Now you create a community. Now they're believing in your narrative and your marketing. So they believe in all that stuff. Now you can go spread the utility to people and tell them why it's great, which is narrative and marketing. That's how this game is played, man. It's how the game. So everyone that's why I say, some of the maxi hexagons, I can ruin them in arguments, and why, some of the stuff that the way they relate their message, is not as it could be better.
Yeah.
It could be better. And if you get it, the way I just said that with Hex doesn't change it any bit.
It don't, right.
It's just how you see it and how you, and now you're like, oh yeah, I see how that went. I see how Richard Hart does
we
it.
saw this with once the community started really pushing the tokenomics aspect of it. We see it all the time, like, oh, stake at 555. It's just math. It's going to go to the moon. It's going to $8,000 a coin. There was one influencer who was doing that.
$26, $29, $26.
You see it all the time. It's just math. Well, no, because only it matters in crypto is buy and sell pressure. That's the only thing that matters.
So it's you know, it's on the path of doing that. Well, you could say the same thing about SHIB and Dogecoin path. Like I could make the same chart. Most coins that kill it, you can make a narrative out of anything because it's hitting gains and you can make people's mind think one way all the time. Just doing that. So absolutely. There's one thing that Richard Hart from the get-go was telling you the whole time. In my opinion, marketing narrative. Did you see it? Did you hear it? 10,000x in 2.5 years or less. 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 What happened? It topped out at 10,000x. Do you think that was math? No. Someone sold the damn top at 10,000x. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It did what it did. That was nothing. That had nothing to do with math. It wasn't attached to a coin. It was actually attached to Ethereum. So it had nothing to do with Hex. There's nothing. It was just marketing and narrative.
So what do you think about because Richard has said on other streams that he's like, well, yeah, I think Pulse Chain, it's within the realm of possibilities that it could go do a 10,000x. Do you think that's another narrative that plays out this next cycle potentially with our boy?
I've got my number, and I'm pretty sure I'm on point with it, but I'll never give it out.
Give us a small taste.
I am almost positive I know what's going on because I am like my mind, like to give an example of how I think outside of crypto, and my wife hates it. I am looking for the answer to solve every movie that I watch before the ending.
I do.
I don't watch. My wife, it drives her crazy because I will guess the movie and I'll be like right on point with it. A lot of times, there's few movies that got me where I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming at all. But for the most part, you know, I watched. We watched this one video. I forgot what the movie was, but it had something to do with like the end of the world or whatever. And not. Well, I guess that one, Knock on the Cabin. I guess that one. That was pretty easy. But I forgot what it was, but it had something to do with some overseas movie where it's like an avalanche and everything. And I said, the guy throws, you know, something in the trash and then continues on with the show. I said, that scene right there is key. She goes, what are you talking about? He's just throwing it in the trash. I was like, that was out there. There was no reason to show a scene of a guy throwing something away in the trash. And she goes, he just threw something in the trash. About an hour and a half of the movie, he threw a hard drive out in the trash. So he had to go back in the trash to get the trash to solve everything. And she just looks at me. She just shakes her head. I'm just like, it was just very obvious. And that's how I look at things. So when I invested in the Pulse Chain, that's how I listen to Richard Hart. A lot of people just hear Richard Hart. I listen to Richard Hart because Richard Hart gives you all the answers.
So give us some teasers. You don't need to share the whole or share. Like,
a lot of people are wrong. A lot of people are wrong because they're looking at it the wrong way.
So how should people
the numbers that are being put out there, I believe, are incorrect. But Richard Hart did give you the answer.
Huh. So I love this. I love these talking points. How do you because it's I think one of the hardest things in life in general is like how do you discern between what's actually going on versus what's being told to you. You know, we see that with the government, we see it with media, we see it with crypto. And so, you know, what are some key takeaways that the audience could learn? How do they truly see what's going on? Then in this context, let's run with Richard Hart and crypto.
With Richard Hart and crypto, you have to break down what he's actually saying and pretend that you don't own the coin. Be suspicious of Richard Hart. That's the problem. No one's suspicious of Richard Hart, so they don't listen and break down on why what he's saying is putting you in a different direction. One thing Richard Hart is amazing at is marketing.
Oh yeah, that I agree.
I'm okay at it.
You're good too.
Yeah, I'm okay at it, but I know a good marketer when I see one. So my mindset is, how is he marketing right now? And then I pick it apart and make it like a escape room. What is he actually saying? And then I break it down, and I break it down, and I break it down. And it's like a puzzle. It's like a mystery. So that's how he has to speak a different way because there's laws involved.
Yeah.
He can't just come out and tell you with it. So he's basically letting you know without letting you know.
Right.
It's your job to pick it up, pick it apart, and figure out what he's saying.
Can you give an example of one of these, like maybe from the past? You're like, oh, Richard.
Oh, the 10,000X thing.
Oh, yeah.
The 10,000X in 2.5 years. And everybody was like, oh, are you going to light the candles at $1? And he's always been telling you 10,000X from the bottom. He literally told you where the top was going to be without telling you where the top was going to be.
He sure did.
It stopped exactly at a 10,000X. Now, who sold that 10,000X? We don't know. Somebody did. But I'm just letting you know, it stopped exactly at a 10,000X. And everybody was waiting to light some candles at $1. Well, that, you know why? Your mind wasn't thinking that he's over here repeating the same thing every single stream. But your mind was at $1.
Because that was part of the community preaching the tokenomics and narrative and everything else.
Your mind just went complete
going over there. Yep.
Took the wrong turn. You could have been cashing out. And then you got your people, you know, we talked about the T-share thing. And just imagine if you sold, you know, let me say you sell all your hex, but imagine if you sold 50% of your hex at 30 cents. I'm not even picking the top. 30 cents.
Yeah.
And bought back in at 4 cents. I won't even pick the bottom. Or 7 cents. Where we're at right now, 7 cents. Imagine you sold at 30 cents and sold at 7. Imagine you took another 50% at 40 cents and bought back at 4 cents or 7 cents. Or imagine if you just took out another 50% when it got to the next level, 50 cents. Damn, you just sold the top. You're a baller. You're killing it. Yep. And then you bought back in at 7 cents. We bought them back in January?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's January.
I think we're talking for another 2-3 years. So how much more T-shares would you have had done if you did that?
Infinitely more.
Now you'd stake your hex for that amount of time and do the hex way that you talk about. You go enjoy your life for 2-3 years.
And I'm glad you said
it's the same concept. It's literally the same concept. Yeah. I only had to do 2 trades, 3, 4, 5 trades. I know where the cycle's about going to be. I'm not saying I know when the cycle's going to end.
Right. We don't got to be perfect.
It ain't got to be perfect. But you do have someone that tells you when it's going to end. But I'm just saying. But, you know, someone likes to tweet that stuff. But
I know no one listens to them.
Even beyond that, there's another example, by the way, where people don't listen. So even beyond that, I just gave you a scenario that you could because here's the thing: the people that say, "Oh, you don't have to stare at charts, you don't have to stare." How are you talking to them right now? What are they talking about? Crypto? So maybe they're staring at their phones. They're on YouTube talking about it. So I'm sure you're updating yourself on it. So you're probably doing the same thing also. So just because you're looking at your phone doesn't necessarily mean you have to be trading it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy at 7 cents, 7 cents, 7 cents, 7 cents. Stake it out, maybe a year after the halving, 2 years after the halving, maybe 3 years, 2 years, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to give that information out, but you can do how you want to do it after the halving. You do your information, figure out when stuff usually tops.
Yeah,
and then,
it's not hard to figure out.
Yeah, and then maybe end the stake around there somewhere, and then what you'll do is slowly take it out, and then you stake for the bear market to the bull market. Now, there is the argument that yes, your situation is going to be like you could have more, the T-share rate's only going to go up. I agree with that.
In hex terms.
In hex terms, absolutely. But you're not looking at the power of gains, the power of being able to multiply that. So when you take it out, all it is a reverse of you taking gains. You're just looking at in the T-share form. If you look at the T-share chart, up and to the right, down. So if you could sell that up, you're actually still winning, because not only that you're getting more T-share for your bang for your buck on that chart, because people don't look at it as a chart. They're just saying the price of T-share rate only goes up. But the T-share rate chart actually went down. But not only that you sold that dollar form of it, you actually got more of that by getting more hex. So therefore, you now get more T-shares, and therefore you win. That is actually the way to become a turtle to a squid to this. And you only can do that by actually trading and taking care of. But you can do it as people leave the system, but you can do it so much faster than waiting 15 years.
Right.
So you only got to wait for it. So it's like,
no, seriously, I'm glad that you say that. When we were getting into hex, I was running the math and looking at the cycles, and I was like, man, is there something here that I'm missing? And I'd go on Twitter and I'm like, bro, like, you freaking selling 2025. Once again, not financial advice here. This is my own opinion, but I'm like, man, if you sold in 2025 sometime and then you gave it another year and a half after you sold, you could go back and reacquire. And I'm like, the math says you could reacquire, 5 to 10x more T-shares by just doing that. You don't need to be a degen trader. But if you can generally say, like, hey, this is usually when we top out, and this is when we usually bottom. If you generally sell the tops, generally buy the bottoms, you could have an infinitely larger bag.
Crypto loves 85 to 95% drops.
Right. So talk about so address this. I'm curious. We're big fans of your friend Sami here. He talks a lot about holding till 2025. He's saying that the roughly 4-year crypto cycle is still intact. Do you feel like it's still intact as well? Do you feel like that's going to be changing anytime in the near future? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with him until you give me a change. The trend is your friend until the end. So until that trend ends, why not? Now, I don't think Bitcoin goes where everyone thinks it's going. I am going to do a special video on my Thursday stream for YouTube. And it's going to be, price guesses. People are going to be surprised. And I think that is. Go ahead.
I saw you do a tweet saying that Bitcoin could pump into the halving, and then that's it. It would dump.
If I see Bitcoin going, that's not going to be my price structure, but that is a scenario that I could see going that if Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs before the actual halving, like everyone's claiming they're doing, that will be a buyer rumor selling news event, and I do think that was it.
You don't think higher highs after that?
No.
Interesting.
No, because you're seeing governments come in, and what you would see, in my opinion, would be a triple top.
Ah, interesting. So what? So how would you play the rest of the market then if we're not seeing, if we're not?
It'll do the same thing. You'll have about 30 days after Ethereum. So Ethereum usually does its run after about 30 days after the Bitcoin top, and then whatever you're in, whatever they do during that 30 days, they all don't top at the same time. But you have a run of craziness, for 30 days after that top. Mm-hmm. So I don't. Here's the thing: keep your mind open. I agree with Sami. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. But if I see a big top and then boom, I think this is going to be an elongated market, and that's going to be the top for some time. And I do think a lot of people are going to be upset, thinking like that's it and that was over. And then you don't see another top for another, like, it doesn't get back up there for another year and a half, maybe 2 years into the market. And at that point, what happens is, what you'd be noticing is the highs, because Bitcoin cycles up are getting shorter, their bottoms are getting longer. So what that would start to tell you is that now it's becoming less volatile and less gains, if that happens, which means the markets are getting longer, which throws off that cycle.
Markets are getting mature.
Sooner or later, that cycle gets taken off. I don't think we're there yet, because we're not at that point where it's just Bitcoin's not going to be volatile. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think adoption's there yet. I do think we have 1 to 2 cycles left in crypto. Mm. And when I say in crypto, I mean the way as we see it now. Gains 10,000x, 100,000x, like, yeah, we're killing it. Like, that's coming to an end within the next 2 cycles, in my opinion.
Sure.
I think it's 1 cycle. For the glory and hope of everyone that's been here in the last cycle, I think we can get 2 cycles in, because usually it's that 3rd cycle where people just make the craziest amount of money for people. Usually the 1st cycle you get wrecked. The 2nd cycle you figure things out, you make some good money, and then the 3rd cycle you just know what's going on and you just smash it. If you can have enough ability to make it to a 4th cycle, you're just freaking you demolish the game.
Yeah.
Like, you should demolish game. If you're in your 3rd cycle, going into your 4th cycle, and you haven't had life-changing gains, you're doing something wrong. Something needs to change. If you're going your 2nd cycle and you go into your 3rd cycle and you just didn't win, you were listening to the wrong people. So I will always tell people, delete the people that gave you the wrong information in the last cycle. Even if it's me, delete me if you don't think that I benefit you in that cycle. That's what it's all about. Like, I've got a community of people that like me, and my Twitter goes up and down, up and down, up and down, because people think, I got the wrong information. I got the best information. From the looks of it, there's more people that like my information than hate my information. But if you genuinely think that I am holding you back, me personally is holding you back from winning, I'm not the type of person for you. It's that simple.
Yep.
It's that simple. So you need to do that with your following on Twitter, because you will be cycled out. You will see their tweet, and it has a possibility to mess with the way you want to do things or with your game plan. I will unfollow you if I feel that when I see your tweets, it's somewhat messing with my game plan.
Yeah,
it's not personal. It's just what I want to see. So some people do take it personal if I disagree with it. Richard Hart unfollowed me. It's not personal. I'm sure if we saw each other at a bar or we had a drink with each other, it'd be I bet you we had a grand old time. It'd probably be hilarious. But as far as his business,
yep,
I'm messing up his business because that's not his marketing style. That's not what he's marketing. That's not what he's advertising. And I interfere with that. It's not personal. It just is what it is. So I don't take it personal with that. But I do the same thing. I did the same thing back in 2018. I was like, who was I following in 2017 that just messed up my whole mindset? This is why I did wrong. But who was talking like that? You were out of here. Get out of here. Nothing personal. Probably would have a drink with you if we go out to a bar. Like, don't take it personal. But I want my mind straight like this.
But don't you want to see the other side of the coin sometimes? Like, don't you want to see like what?
Yeah, how do you keep an open mind at the same time?
With my mind is open regardless. So regardless, my mind is open. So I approach anything and everything with an open mind, no matter what it is. Now, that's how you have to bridge. Now, what I don't want is people keep putting that idea in my head because I am human.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and act like I can't, like I'm perfect and nothing can do. No, I am human. And maybe I'm thinking and maybe my wife says something the way they say it. And because I cherish my wife more than that person, I'm listening to her. And then it goes back to over there. Like, well, that's what he said. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, let's go with it. Where if I just take that guy on my wife, I know more than you. To my wife. Like in crypto, I know more than you, so you're wrong. And I'll listen to her and I'll make my decision. But if I hear multiple people saying the same thing, I could be persuaded one way or the other.
Sure.
And it could go against my game plan. I have a game plan for Pulse Chain, and nobody can tell me any different.
Can you would you share some of that? Share whatever you feel like you're willing to share about, or maybe it's better to say like, how should somebody go about developing their own plan?
Share a little bit right there. We ain't getting no more of that.
I didn't see it.
No. How can I say this without saying it? I always gotta think of it. See, I'm not as good as Richard Hart. Richard Hart do it on the fly and say it. I gotta actually think about how I want to say something. I'll say the wrong thing. What's thrown out there, I don't think Pulse Chain does it. I'll stop it at that. Also, I think people are going to take profits too soon. I think people aren't going to take profits at all because they're going to look at it like Hex. And many will get wrecked in the process. Just imagine Pulse Chain goes up, Hex goes up, Bitcoin goes up right before the halving. Let's say Pulse Chain's at a 1000x.
Heading into the halving?
Having and having. Bitcoin's at a new all-time high. Pulse Chain does this 1000x. This is just a scenario.
Sure.
And then we talked about the scenario where I think that's it for the next 2 years. And it just drops 95%. How would you feel?
If you didn't sell it, you'd feel like crap.
You feel like
because you got into the narrative that Pulse Chain is going to go. You bought into the narrative that there's that 4-year cycle, and you bought into the narrative of everything, but the narrative actually went against you.
Which could happen.
So with the way the market is doing, I still believe in the 2025, 2026 halving, but have something just in case you're wrong. Have a plan. That's simple.
Yeah.
Now, whatever I say here, it ain't gonna matter.
Right.
Because what I say here is not going to be put into practice. I put it into practice because I've got years of putting it into practice. If you don't learn to put it on practice, no matter what I say, you're going to forget about it. And the noise, you're going to get distracted by the noise, and you're going to forget everything about this stream that happened on April 10th, 2023. You're not going to remember that in March of 2024. I promise you won't. So you got to train your mindset. You got to train your brain. So I can say certain things and it just goes against you. So that's why I say have a game plan for everything. Guess what? I'm staked out quarterly for the next 15 years on Hex. Why? My stuff is front loaded for the most part, but I still have stakes going all the way out to 2015. Why? What if I'm wrong? I don't think crypto is going to be here in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't. I think all the gains go away. It's going to come in a different way. But what if I'm wrong? Are you ready for this line? I'm a genius if I'm right, and I'm a genius if I'm wrong. So that's how I look at crypto. So when I'm coming up with my game plan from the beginning to the end, I make sure I say, no matter what, I'm going to win. I'm putting myself in a situation to win. People will say, you just got lucky. No, I came up with a game plan to put myself in to win. And that's how you have to look at it. Don't just look at it like it's going to do this and then this is what I'm going to do. Well, what's going to happen when you do it? When Pulse Chain does a 10,000x, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? I don't know. I didn't think out that far. Me? I'm getting in the real estate game. I want to learn real estate. I want a house in the mountains. I want a house on the beach. And then we'll figure out if I go to multifamily after that. I don't know.
We can help you with that.
Yeah, man. I'm still like, that's when I met you. I said that. I was like, man, I'm gonna get into this real estate game. But the thing is I've got a lot to learn. So that's why I said, hey, I'm gonna be out. This is it. Like, I'm done. The reason why I've made these tweets multiple times in the last 2 years. The reason why I said that is because I do think the gains are going to slowly start tapering off, and it's time to find the next chapter in my life. So it's not going to be crypto. I'll probably still be here. I'll be here, but the Versace, the glasses, the face, it's going to be gone. I'm going to be that guy in the background that you never hear again. I'll be here, but you won't hear from me. So there'll be a select people that know who I am, and then I won't talk in the Spaces calls. I won't do it because I'm going to learn the real estate game. What I did for crypto is how heavy I'm going to get into the real estate game. It'll take a year, 2 years. I'm going to learn the game. I'm probably going to make some mistakes. I'm probably going to say, why the heck did I buy that house? I paid $30 million for that house. Why the hell did I do that? Like, it's I'm gonna have my mistakes. But what's happening is a shift. What is your game plan for you? You got to figure out whatever that game plan is for you and put it into execution. But if you're wrong, have a game plan, a plan B, just in case you're wrong, so you can still win. And that's how I look at crypto, whether it's the ultimate shit coin that goes up and goes down. I have a game plan when I go in. I have a game plan when I go out. All the way up to Hex, where I've staked out 15 years, all the way to Pulse Chain, all the way to the real estate game. I only own one house, and that's my house, but I plan on more. So I'm getting a game plan set for that. I'm meeting up with financial teams, right? Like I had one a couple weeks ago, like where we just discussed taking all my value out of crypto and putting it somewhere else. Because if that thing crashes and that's done, then you got nothing to live on. Hope your libertarian coin does everything that you want to do, and you're like I hope it works out for you. Because if it doesn't go your way, you'll be a rags to riches real quick.
Yeah. Yes. Real quick. So Oh man, this has been great. So, so what are some of the people or resources that you're willing to share? If people want to get the best information, they want to sharpen their skills. Where should they go? What should they
Yeah,
do?
shill your stuff, man.
Yeah. My video, if you want to venture out into, more of the casino space, but that video works for anything. That video is not about meme coins. It's actually kind of a trick on the mind. It's about market psychology and how you present, how you look at crypto. I go over how to just trade Bitcoin, just a simple process of how to trade Bitcoin. I go over a history of crypto. So I've been in the game for a while. I teach you how there's only a select few coins that's been out for longer than 2 cycles that create new all-time highs. Out of 25,000 coins, BNB, Cardano, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and probably 2 or 3 other more, XRP, have lasted multiple cycles and created new all-time highs. Out of 25,000 coins, there's only a very select few. So your mindset needs to be that. I know we all love Hex, but it's only been through 1 cycle. So it's very speculative right now. Once it creates that second cycle of a higher high and a higher low and do it again, it has now joined the party of the handful of tokens. But at this moment, it is very speculative. So I make my investments with that mindset. So if you don't, you're doing no different than, gambling on VeChain that hasn't created a new all-time high. Because that second cycle, it didn't create a new all-time high. Now, that's the type you got to think. It's slowly getting pushed down in the market as new stuff comes out, and the fresh new thing comes out, and then VeChain slowly gets lower and lower and lower. The new stuff comes in and replaces it as technology gets better. So the laws of meme coins teaches you that. The law of meme coins teaches you about how much you should invest in the casino. So it's not a tell you that if you have this is what you should do. It's a guide to let you know. This is what, most people will say. You'll hear a big boy say, well, I'm a billionaire, but I threw 1% of my assets into Bitcoin. Why? Because it's speculative. 1% is a lot for a portfolio, and it can go up a crazy amount of money and change your portfolio all the way around. I made a tweet that said $150 in SHIB at those numbers. That $150 was like $300-something thousand at the top. So for every $150 from that tweet, you made like $300-something thousand.
Wow, I saw that.
So when you do that, you don't have to bet the farm to buy a farm. I basically paid off my farm that I had with SHIB. So that with $300, $400, of that money that went towards that. So that's what I'm saying. So it teaches you about that. It teaches you about how you can use Hex or whatever large cap that you want, as long as it actually has had multiple cycles to keep it going, to put it into something more safe. Now that's like how I'm doing with crypto into real estate, but I'm taking that and within crypto and just doing it with crypto, because Bitcoin is still a speculative asset and goes up way more higher than the traditional market. So right. I'm just giving that scenario within that. And then it talks about giving I don't think I left this part out, but here's a part that I would like to add in as a part 2. How I look at things is like a 401k. So when people say only do one asset, I look at that as not smart. So look at crypto as a 401k. When people say be a maxi, like, would I be maxi with ExxonMobil for my 401k? Why don't you just put all your money in 401k for Exxon? Why don't you put it on Apple? It's the best technology ever.
Yep. Right.
What about Tesla? Why don't you put it all in Tesla? Why don't you put all your 401k in Tesla? You don't do that. You have a bag of coins. You have a large cap, medium cap, maybe international cap, small cap. Guess what those small caps are? Those shit coins that you talk about.
Those meme coins.
Those meme. That's like the small caps. Most of the small caps aren't going to make it. But why do you invest in those small caps? Because you have a time in your life period that you can take those blunts, and then you're looking for that one Tesla. You're looking for that one Apple. You're looking for that shit. So that's what I mean. You're taking a small little piece of that, and you find a narrative that you think you can make, and you just throw it in there. If you lose it, you lose it. But you're not putting it. Most people put 25% in small caps. In my 30s, like 25 small cap, 25 medium cap, 25 international, 25% in large cap. And that's usually how I did my 401k. I don't invest in 401k anymore, but when I did, that's what I did. And that's just giving you the best of all worlds, and your portfolio grows and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you become maxi-like, you don't do that. You just put it all in one. And I don't like that mentality, because what that also does is if you strike out, you struck out big.
Yeah.
You struck out big.
Enormous, yeah.
And then you put that strikeout to 15 years.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's even worse. So have a game plan. And that's what I'm saying. Change the mindset. Because how I look at it is the Bitcoin maximalists, they missed out on Ethereum. The Ethereum maximalists missed out on, actually the Bitcoin maximalists missed out on XRP. The Bitcoin and the XRP maximalists missed out on Ethereum. The Ethereum maximalists and Bitcoin maximalists and XR maximalists could say you missed out on Hex or SHIB or whatever. And the Hex maximalists likely missed out, or could have missed out on Pulse Chain. I know some Hex maximalists that was all talking about Hex only back when Pulse Chain came out. So I guarantee you there's a good amount of Hex maximalists that missed out on Pulse Chain because their mindset was just.
I know some they're going to sell on a 5 or 10x to put in the Hex. They just want to put it in Hex.
That's the maximalist mindset. And that was Ethereum too. It went up 10x. They probably took it out of Ethereum and put in the Bitcoin.
And put it in Bitcoin. Where
and
only moved 20%.
Yep. And Bitcoin freaking just smashed it. So what you got to realize is every cycle, until you show me something that changes, and that's what I was talking about funding Jim with the cycles with the L1s, and until you show me something that has changed, then I will change. But I've yet to see that yet. So in my opinion, Pulse Chain would do way more gains than Hex. And all the ones that said, well, I got my Hex, I'm gonna, that's just convincing yourself.
Yep.
Why you just missed the boat. You're probably doing good, but you probably could have done better. And that's where I'm saying I come in with a different mindset and thinking of just be free from it, because Pulse Chain in the future will get overtaken. As much as I like Pulse Chain, as much as I preach Pulse Chain, whether it's 1 year or 1 cycle from now, 2 cycles from now, Pulse Chain will get overtaken by something.
Sure.
Whether it's like the AI blockchain or the blockchain that lives on Skynet or the satellites in outer space and can never go down with EMPs. Like, you don't know what it is going to be, what the narrative is going to be. There's going to be something that brings in a new form of people in the crypto, and they're going to be happy with it. Or the government's blockchain just takes over all, and they just do away with all the crap, all the other blockchains, and it's just like, that's it.
Sure.
So just that's what the laws of meme coins does. So laws of meme coins is a must watch. It's my most watched video. It's my most watched video. Volume isn't great. It was one of my
it's this top one right here,
videos,
right?
Yes, one of my first videos. It's at 14K now. It probably should have in the hundreds of thousands of Ks, because it gives so much alpha on what goes on in not only just the meme coin space, but also just market psychology, and it goes back in the history of why it makes sense. Okay. The next thing I would probably say, that I listen to a lot of is Crown Crypto. If you want to go into trading, he's very, very good at coming with updated videos. He's very accurate, and his beginning videos is kind of what taught me trading. The next person that a lot of people are not going to like is Tone Vays. I do actually watch a lot of Tone Vays' stuff. He is usually on point with his stuff with Bitcoin. Now, he is a maximalist of Bitcoin, so you got to ignore that stuff. But his trading is actually on point. I do like his style of trading. And then after that, it's once you get the basics of what a higher high and a higher low and lower high is, you can make those trades easily that I was talking about. And you don't have to look at the 4-hour candles and look at it every 2 seconds. You don't have to look at the daily candle and look at it every day. You can just look at the weekly candles and look at it once a week.
Yep.
Or even monthly and look at it once a month and make a decision. Just make it a difference to that. If you stick with weekly and monthly, the stuff that I talk about when I'm doing like my trading like tweets, I'm only looking at the weekly. I only look at weekly and I show the weekly. Now, maybe my days are off. I call 17.5 as the bottom. But guess what? I told you to look for 17.5 back when it was $14,000. I told you to follow the 300-week moving average.
Yep.
That's the average price in the last 300 weeks. So once I saw the lower low on the weekly, I didn't call it on the day like Richard Hart, but you could have used that as your signal, or you can wait for the lower low. And that lower low, here's the thing, he called it on the day, but I don't believe he called it on the day. That's how I actually got blocked, believe it or not. I told him, I was like, you didn't call it on the day, by the way, because it went up and did an extra higher high.
Yeah.
So if you knew what higher highs and higher lows was, you would have stayed in at 30K. You could see me saying like, hey, 30K is not over. And it went back and created a new higher high. Then it created a lower high after that. So when you see that, then I made the tweet, all right, this market's probably done with. It's time to start looking at the 300-week moving average. At that time, it was at like 16 grand, 15 grand. And when he was calling for 10K and pray, the whole time I was like, it's not going to 10K. It's not going to 10K. The 300-week moving average is where it's going. And it took a year to get there because we're talking weeks. Every candle is 1 week. So as everyone's staring at their charts every day, and you just sit back and you just look at the weekly candle. And when it hit the 300-week moving average, bounced right off of it. And I said, that's the top. I said, that's the bottom, 17.5. You could have sold all your crypto at 40K and got back at 17.5 and bought all bottoms. Whether it was an altcoin, because the market all runs the same way. Whether it's an altcoin, you sold whatever you got, sold the bottom. That could have got you in hex at what, 2-3 cents?
Yeah. Yep.
So at that time, the hex was in like the 25 cent area, I believe, 25, maybe 30 cents. But you could have sold that and bought thing at 2-3 cents if you just followed that tweet. But then it dipped back down and went below the 300 week for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then it shot right up there. And everyone's laughing at you. Oh, you didn't go bottom. You were wrong. You were wrong. You were wrong. All right, I was wrong by $2,000. Now, whether or not I sold at 40, if we're just talking Bitcoin, I sold at 40,000 and got back in at 17.5. Instead of getting from 40,000 and 15.5, I still got 40,000 and 17.5. What is the major difference in that? Under what, 10%? Like 15%? So the point I'm making is you can still kill the game by just learning those two things. What is a higher high? What is a lower high? What is a lower low? What is a higher low? And then when you start listening to people that trade every single day, doesn't necessarily mean you have to trade every single day, but you're starting to listen to them, to the people that are right more than they're wrong. And then you start, like, the more you listen to it, the more it incorporates in the way you talk. And then when you finally do that trade, the confidence builds up. And that's just, for me, years of listening to the people that are right more than wrong and picking out who has been right more than wrong. Even my YouTube subscribers, I'll delete. So I don't just get sucked into a headline and listen to what they got to say.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend listening to those guys. Watch the Laws of Meme Coins. Obviously, watch every Richard Hart stream because he gives you all the hints. So he gives it to you. So if you're in his coins, you'd be stupid not to. But listen to him differently. Break him down and figure out what he's saying. Because then you told me, you said something earlier. You don't even know what you said, but you said something earlier where you kind of actually, you'll probably go back and watch it. You kind of said it without saying it.
Huh.
No, we're on it, man.
But you base it off of other people. So I think a lot of people don't listen and hear what people think. And sometimes you'll see me smirk. Sometimes you're thinking, because in my mind's running 1,000 miles per hour every second. But when people say something, it's a light bulb that clicks in my head. So listen to what he's saying. Go back and listen to those streams where he's talking about Pulse Chain back during the sacrifice days. When people are asking him about, do you think it could do this? Do you think it could do that? He gives you the answer.
Dude, pure gold.
And then you just make a game plan based off of
around
that answer. And then you make a game plan just in case it's wrong. Then you cannot lose. That's simple.
Love it.
That's
Love it, man. Love it, man. Well, this has been good. I mean, we could talk for another 3 hours. I feel like easy, but this probably, is there anything you guys want to hit on before we wrap it up today?
I'm good. I think we nailed it, man. This was amazing, B-Roots. Thank you for coming on today. Obviously, tell people where they can find you on Twitter. We told them about the YouTube.
You can Google us, Crypto Kings on YouTube. You're going to also have IMB Roots, IAMBROOTS, all one word on Twitter. Please look for the check mark. There's a lot of fake ones of me, so there are a lot of scammers.
Talk about
Shield Tank. Yes, Shield Tank.
Week.
Shield Tank every Tuesday and Thursday, 12:30 Eastern. It is basically, I have kind of changed the game within the meme coin space, where the sponsors kind of pay for the show. The sponsors are paid, so I've always let that information out. They do pay to get out in front of people and be on stage with us for other coins to pitch to us. Those are free. So all the developers come and they pitch their coins to us. We found the 34,000X coin that we've a lot of us got into that one. Many 20Xs, 10Xs, many coins that come to us change the game. A lot of people don't like it because it's, there are some scams in there and you got to kind of pinpoint them out. But we kind of guide people to tell you how we look at coins and why we don't think it's going to be good and why we don't think it's going to be bad. One, we were wrong. We missed out on the 50X. It's not all about what we think. You come up with your own ideas and why you think. And there were people that got into that coin and I didn't get into that coin. But the point is I'm bringing a community of people together there where they pitch to people and you don't actually have to go out and find it. And you can make decisions and go over the coins together to whether you think it's a good coin or not. So that's every Tuesday and Thursday. Very popular show. Usually gets anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 hits on that show per episode. Very fun and entertaining. We try to make it entertaining too. But all the pitches are free. And when a coin launches, they come to you. So I don't have to stay on the computer all day looking at, what coin's next. What is it? I just made it easy for me. Just have them come to me. so it's a very popular show. Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then that's me in a nutshell. I'm telling you, I think I'm only gonna be here for another 2 years. Tops. Might be less than that. But my ending statements is whether you're in PulseX, Pulse Chain, or Hex, or any meme coin or anything, have a game plan going in. And if you already sacrificed, now create a game plan going out. And make sure it's a realistic goal. Smart goal. Make it a smart goal. So don't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cash out 100,000 X and then I'm done. No. Smart goal. If you don't know what a smart goal is, it needs to be specific. So make sure you have a goal and have it written down. Write down that goal. What do you want it to do? Make it specific. Make it measurable. Make sure you know how long. Like when is it? When are you going to make this goal? It's realistic. Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Or is everyone just talking this whole 100,000 X, 10,000 X? Is it really achievable? Make sure you know that and make sure you do that. And then obviously relevant. Is it relevant? Obviously, we're all in crypto. It is very relevant. You want to make money. And then, time. Have a time frame for it. I want my pulse chain. I want to hold my pulse chain for this long. And this is how much I'm going to cash out. And this is when I'm going to cash out. So you're creating a game plan. You've already got in. You already came in. You probably already ate more than what you can afford to ape in. So now that you didn't follow that rule, have a game plan going out. That's all I'm saying. That's I'll leave it at that. That should be for everything you do in life.
I love it.
Every goal in life, make it a smart goal, and you will win more times than you lose.
Well, man, we appreciate you so much for coming on and dropping just freaking an hour and 47 minutes of alpha, man. This was awesome. Yeah, this was awesome. Guys, smash the likes again and hit the bell notification if you enjoyed today's show. Make sure to follow B Roots over on Twitter and YouTube. He's always full of alpha. I've learned so much from this gentleman and his knowledge in the crypto space, man. So thank you again. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you. Great stream. Later, guys.